they were telling me about a friend that they had from college, and they have been friends with them for, almost 2 decades, I guess, close to 2 decades. And, the other person has been married, has their kids. The other friend, has kids too, but they've always stayed in contact, right? And the other friend who was married, the guy, he is getting separated or whatever. And, she's single. And they've like reconnected again, not like reconnected, like they never didn't talk, but they didn't talk as much as they currently talk now. And she's saying that they're only friends. They've never done anything, never even kissed, never anything. And she, like, people are giving her a hard time because they're like, oh, like, what do you have going on? Like, men and women are not just friends for that long. Like,
I feel like that's wrong.
Thirsty. I have a girl code that I think
he can't like. I don't care if it's a picture of the dog on the page. Nobody better like it.
Like, I feel like you should look at it like, I deserve this. Yes, this is my money.
I feel like you can be friends with the guy. True enough. Now, I know it was no feelings on my end. I don't think it was any feelings on his end. I think we were just friends. But, I have a guy best friend too. Not him, is another one. And he has a girlfriend. And so it's the same situations with him. So it's just their girlfriends don't approve. I mean, so I don't know.
So here's my question for you, Shanita. So if you open up the door and those guys were single, do you think they would walk through the door?
My best friend, possibly, because we had made a pact when we was in high school that by the time I turned, because he was older than me, so by the time I turned 25, if he was single, I was single, we was gonna get married, have kids. But we both was in relationships at that time, so we never did. So we just friends. So, but when we initially, we met because one of my friends was trying to hook me up, and we just like, no, we was better off being friends. So we never went there, but yeah,
it sounds like you could if you wanted to.
Yeah, I do, but I mean, not like that. I mean, heck, no.
Too late to be humble. Tell us no.
we go. Anyway, so with the other guy, no, he's not my type.
No.
Is that why? Because he's not your type, or because it's a no, we're friends and we are mutually decided that we're not going to cross those boundaries?
Yeah, but I think it's probably because he's not my type. Because I feel like I've dated, not as attractive guys, but personality, I don't know, like, we just always been just friends. Like, I never saw him as anything more than that. Like, you know how sometimes you might daydream or wonder. I never had that.
Yeah, but that's not the question though. The question is about you. It's about him.
Oh, I think so.
Okay, right. So
a lot of girlfriends, not like girlfriend, but friend girls. And because, I mean, he was just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I ain't gonna say he didn't have the best personality, but he can rack in friends. So, because everybody knew him. But, I don't know. I think so. But then that would just be me being cocky. Because I don't know, he might feel the same way about me.
No, I agree with you, which is that guys are not just friends with females. They may not be trying to be in a relationship or take it somewhere right now, but I do feel like guys have you around for a whatever day, their version of a rainy day, a just in case day, whatever. I feel like, and they will.
And I feel like your dad said something like that on the podcast that he was on, that, that it's always like, maybe not now, but at some point.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think guys and girls can be. I don't know. But on Brown Sugar, they wouldn't, because they ended up getting together. You know, Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan. I don't know. I guess in my mind, I always thought it.
I mean, but you do have a friend that you guys have. Well, we won't get too deep in your business, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think that it is possible, but I do think in the back of somebody's mind, you know, in this friendship, that thought is there. You know, whether they express it or not, I think the thought is there.
And see, for my best friend, yes, I can see that. 'Cause I just know him, so I can see that. But with the other guy, I don't think so. I mean, I think if I was single or he was single, possibly he might, but he never tried anything, you know, from the time we met. He never asked me out on a date. He never, you know, like our dates was going to lunch together. You know, we walk in class together. We talk on the phone every night. But as far as actually asking me out on a date or, you know, even complimenting me or something like that, he didn't do any of that. Like, and he had a girlfriend, so he was being faithful to her.
It almost sounds like a work husband, but a school husband.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one of those too in college but he was gay. But Jason, he was gay. Hell, and he was gay. Like he was my homie. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Will from Will and Grace. He looked like him, but he acted like Jack. I don't know if you guys ever watched that show. Like he was fun actually. And he and I were in the same major. And, you know, I mean, mostly we just hung out at, you know, like from class to class, because again, we had a lot of our same classes together. So I did have me like a little school husband, like my last year and a half or so.
Yeah. So why do you feel, Crystal, that a guy and girl can't? So do you not know anybody that they are just friends?
I do, but I also feel like in the back of the guy's mind, he's not going to be, I don't think guys are friends with females they don't think are pretty. So why you got to be a friend with somebody that's pretty? What's the point of that? Guys are not friends with females they do not find attractive. Like regular platonic friends. They are not going to be platonic friends with you if they don't find you attractive. Because they're not going to say, hey, you're not going to get that far.
That's a good point. But I'm trying to think, like, do I know anybody? I don't know. Well, maybe that's why all the girls was always mad at me. But I'm like, I wanted to be your friend too. Like, I'm for real. Like, I never did anything to make them feel like I wanted them. But like Crystal just said, maybe they felt like, oh, you too attractive to be just his friend.
Yep. And you know, that's what makes me mad is that in my mind, I'm thinking me and the guy is just friends until they try something and I get cut off like completely. And my feelings are hurt because I'm like,
yes,
so I was your friend, but you wasn't my friend. Like, I don't understand.
No, I was being your friend until I felt like we could take it to the next level.
Yeah. It took me a minute to learn that because I was just so confused. So you just can't be my friend? We're not doing this for fun?
So you feel like you can do it? Yeah,
because I feel like I have to know going in what the intention is. So I don't really do this whole let's switch over unless a conversation is said or had. Like whatever the intention is, that's the intention going in unless I know. Like,
yeah. And see, the only thing that worried me, just like with the pact that we made, we was gonna get married. So to me, I don't think I would want to be in a relationship with my friend, especially now. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship because I wouldn't want to miss my friend. Like, you know, once you go that way, like you say, crossover, if it don't work, you done lost a really good friend. And now what?
What if it means you have a really good mate?
No, I'm saying, and
is there something to that? Is there something to that? Meaning, like, if you guys are really that good of friends, you know, like you guys can talk about everything, you guys can hang out, and it's really just like kicking it with the homie, you know, why wouldn't it work?
You already know the other person cons, the bad things, so you can already accept, you know what you're getting into.
Right? Because if you guys are friends, like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're not playing dress up, pretend, you know, like showing up as your best self every time, shiny and sparkly, and eating bites of food and crap like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're being authentically you if it's a person who's your friend.
Yes, but you got to think about it. Like you said, we have talked about everything. You know, I know what he do, what he's done, what he's still doing, and vice versa. So it's just at that point we're just friends. So I can tell you, you know what, you wrong. You know, you shouldn't have did that girl like that or whatever. But when it comes to me, how do I know? Like, I feel like it would be trust issues knowing, okay,
Because you know what they have already done in the past.
and then I start seeing these symptoms, or you don't have me to talk to anymore. So who are you talking to about these things? You know, do you have anybody that's telling you wrong? You need to go apologize to that person. So I feel like.
But why would that have to stop?
Huh?
Why would that part of your relationship have to stop?
That's a good question, but that's something that I'm still trying to figure out now. I feel like when we're friends, I'm more relaxed. But once I get in a relationship, I think like my mind is set on marriage or whatever. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I think I'm more serious. But that's a good point. I don't know why. But I can be your friend. Then when we get in a relationship, it's like I don't tolerate things that I would have as a friend. Like I think I hold you to a higher expectation.
I think I'm kind of similar to that, but not exactly. Like if I start talking to someone as a friend without the intention of being in a relationship, like we're cool. And if at any point we have a conversation and it change, those are my best relationships. But if we start off and the intention is a relationship, I don't do well with those type. Like I don't open up as much. With the, like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah. What about you, Tagar? You don't think so?
I do think so, to a certain extent. I think that if, you know, the opportunity presents itself, you know, for people to, you know, who have been friends, like I feel like in somebody's mind, maybe her mind, maybe his mind, there's some thoughts churning in the back. Like, even like I said, even if neither one makes a move or neither one says anything or ever crosses that line, I think that somebody has had the thought in their mind, like, this could be more. I want it to be more, or why isn't it more?
Yeah.
So,
well, that was interesting.
So anyway, so my question is, so how do you guys deal with getting to know a guy and the conversation is just dry? You know how sometimes you feel like you're interviewing the guy and it's just like, what are we doing? How do I get you to talk?
I'm not the
Y'all
best
know what I'm talking about?
Yes. For me, I'm a talkative person. So I would try. I mean, I'll be talking about random stuff, just trying to get you to say something, anything, your shoe untied, anything. But when it's like I'm tired of pulling you to talk, I just get quiet. I'm like, well, okay. You know, like hopefully they'll hurry up and get off the phone. And then once I stop talking, I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna start talking. No, he still be quiet. So I feel like when they're like that, they're just not interested in you. Because even with somebody I used to date, like he would talk about what he know. Like what he didn't know about or wasn't really sure, then he really didn't have much. But if you want to talk about football or something like that, he can talk about that all day long. So I was like, okay, it's certain subjects that you have to, talk about to get him to open up. But it's some people, no, like if you don't have nothing to talk about, you just not interested.
I don't know. And I feel like my dad said on the show, he was like, guys don't want to say too much so that it'll turn you off.
Or that they'll give themselves away. You know what I mean? Like, because we are always remembering and recalling some stuff, Meaning, like, oh, I thought you had said, well, what I had heard before was, but for me, I think that I'm probably more of the opposite, meaning like they would have to pull information out of me because it takes a lot for me to just sit down and or have a conversation with somebody and talk beyond the basic everyday talk. Like I have to be interested. So it's kind of like what you're saying. No, I'm not going to be given too much if I'm not interested.
But what if you are interested and you're trying to get to know the person? Like, how does that work? And they're not talking. Like, they're not talking much.
If they're just being shy, if that's just their personality and they're just quiet, or if it's a reason why they're not talking, is somebody around you, or what is it? Because I feel like people, even the quietest people, you will talk to people if you want to, but you have to want to.
I think it has to do with if you want to and the subject. So, depending on what it is, they may not talk or find the right subject, and they're very talkative.
But even if I don't like the subject, I'm gonna still talk because I don't want to make it seem like
awkward.
Now a couple of conversations, and we still talking about the same thing. Okay, some gotta shake, but I'll talk just to try to see where you are because I know I can be nervous at first. So
yeah, I would say at first, but then at some point, like there should just be a flow, like kind of sort like at that point you guys should have all of the things to talk about. Like you know nothing about them, they know nothing about you, and the point is we're trying to get to know each other. So there are endless things to talk about in my mind, like with somebody you're interested in.
Yeah. And it's all about your personality too, because I met a guy in the grocery store and I'll never forget. Like that was one of my favorite moments. But it's like I had my grocery cart, he had his grocery cart, and he was like, man, babe, he was like, I was trying to surprise you and you in here trying to surprise me. So we did this whole role play. I did not know
that sounds cute.
him before or anything, so we like pretended like we were trying to surprise each other or whatever, and we was talking. He ended up having a girlfriend, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, it was two total strangers, and because I had a good personality, he had a good personality. I mean, it just I like things like that. Like I like for you to approach me in a different way, or a way that we can actually talk. Not, oh man, you look good. No, now that's a turn off for me.
But that also sounds like a red flag for me because that was too good. Like that means you do this for real.
But see, I didn't think about that at that moment. All I was thinking about is just like a Hallmark moment. So.
It was very cute. Yes.
Yeah, it did sound very cute. It did. Unfortunately,
He had a girlfriend. I forgot his name, and it was just like whatever his name was that he told me, it was like it was his last name, but it wasn't his first name. So I'm talking to one of my coworkers or whatever, and one day it was something I said, and she was just like, "Wait a minute, do he have dreads?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, said some other things or whatever. She was like, "Shanita, that's my cousin. And he has a girlfriend. He lives with her." And
wait a second.
I was like, what? It was her cousin. Her first. So everything, she was like, some things that he told me, it was true. But for the most part, he had a whole girlfriend that was pregnant that he lived with. And we actually went out on a date. I did not know.
Oh, wait. Oh, you left out some parts.
And it was like he saying that he worked out of town, but he did some type of like plant something. I forgot what it was. Something I never really heard of, but it made sense because he was vegan. And so at that time I was vegetarian. So I mean everything was just like, oh, okay, we got a lot in common. Nope. And how I got him was it was around Christmas time, and she brought me a Christmas gift. We exchanged Christmas gifts. So I took a picture with her and the Christmas gift, and I was like, oh, I said, my coworker brought me the gift. And he was like, you know, that was my cousin. He's like, she must have told you. So he already seeing it. But after that, we just quit talking. Because I guess he figured she already told me the truth. Yep.
Wow. How was the date though?
Awkward. He took me to, it was, I don't know what it is. It's not, I don't think it's Chinese. It's like Chinese or Japanese. It's like one of those places. And he was trying to order for me. I don't like when people order for me. Like if, you know some of my favorite things or, you kind of know what I like. Yeah, but if this is my first time going out, allow me to pick. If your money didn't come with a certain price, then say that. But don't try to order for me and you don't know, what I'm allergic to, what I like, what I don't like, whatever. And then it did appear like he was uncomfortable, which I didn't like that either because
he was uncomfortable because he didn't want to get seen. He didn't want to be seen.
Pick the corner booth or whatever, and then he sat like over. So it made sense after the fact, but I'm just like, what is up?
Wow.
So.
Yeah. Started off so cute, huh?
Oh, it did. It did. Were you finna say something to her?
Mm-mm.
I was gonna say, so like your story reminded me of a story where someone tried to holler at me. I was in Walmart, we were getting our oil change, both of us, and we were just sitting there talking, having like the best time in the world, talking about any and everything. I had just moved to Texas. He was so cool. I was like, oh, he's gonna ask me for my number. He never did. He left. I was like, dang. He called back to the store. The people at the store said, your husband is on the phone. I said, I don't have a husband. What are you talking about? So then they went back to him, and I think they was like, so tell me the person again, because she's not here. Your wife is not here. So he described my car because he knew what kind of car I had. So they was like, yeah, no, he keeps saying he your husband. Go back. Like, can you come check this out? So I went to go and check it out. Like it was him. He knew what kind of car I had. So I gave him my number. He was like, yeah, I didn't get it before I left. I wish I would have. So I ended up giving him my number. They're in Walmart on their telephone at the cash register. So then like come to find out he's married. That's why he gave that example. I was like, okay, it makes sense now. Cause you could have just came back to the store and got my number, but
right.
you called and that was the example that you used. Not my brother. It's an emergency. None of those things. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was an interesting way of doing things. Although I'm not, I mean, not he had a wife, so no, it was not good. But I appreciate the effort in saying, dang, I think I missed an opportunity. Let me see if I can, catch her still. I think that's cute.
Into your relationship. Maybe if you put that type of energy into it, you wouldn't be able to the oil change.
Ooh, is she reading somebody? Is she reading somebody?
Exactly. And so, no, but listen, so say what?
I said, I just never get that. Like, I would be willing to do those things. Like, if we just wanted a random day and it was like, hey, meet me here or whatever, just to keep things interesting, different or whatever. But why do you feel the need to go find what you're missing from somebody else instead of talking to me or let us work through it? Like, I don't get it.
So I have a question. Well, Krista, you were going to ask something?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just going to say something about the situation that wasn't important.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say something like, so he was saying like his wife told him that they could have an open relationship, or it was, no. He said, not necessarily his wife said, but he said it was okay for him to see other people. So it's okay for me and him to talk, is what he said, because of that. I said, oh, okay. So it's okay for her to see other people too. And he was like, oh no, we're not having all that.
I don't get that. How did you find out he was married?
He actually told me, surprisingly.
Oh, so he must love his wife then, because he want to let you know up front. He ain't even trying to hide it.
No, I think it was more of his conscience. Like, he wanted to make sure that I was aware that, you know, I wasn't going to be top priority. That's my guess. I don't know.
But some people, well, I ain't gonna say they do, but some of these guys, like, they spend so much money on their side chicks and, you know, buying them all these things. And I'm like, is your wife getting all this stuff? Or is it just what you doing for that person? But I guess they probably do it to try to hush them up because they feel like, oh, I'm getting all of this out of the deal, but you're not getting the whole man. You're getting a piece of one.
That you're sharing.
Right.
Yep. So what are you going to say, Takar?
I was going to say, so obviously, you know, let's give it a percent versus men versus women. Do you think men cheat 70% of the time, 50% of the time? Women cheat 20% of the time? Men 80, women 30, men 70?
I think we're in a new age where women are, you know, doing it a whole lot more than what they're used to doing, because they're no longer like, no, I'm not just going to sit at the house while you do what you want to, and I'm supposed to forgive you or whatever. So I feel like it's close to 50-50 of like the people that cheat nowadays. I still say maybe men, maybe like 55, women 45 of the cheaters, percentage of the cheaters. So I feel like it's closer than it was.
It used to be.
Yeah.
And you think that's because, like you said, women are more like, well, guess what? Maybe like Jada Pinkett, we gonna be here in this house together. You might be over there on your half doing whatever you do, but we gonna stick with it. You know, so I think for me, I think it's more like 30-70. I do.
Why? 30 being the one.
Like, how often do you hear women say they've been cheated?
Oh.
Right.
Like,
and how
often, like for me, especially recently, like some don't just flat out say it, but you hear some of the things that they say or whatever.
And you can put two and two together.
Yeah, it's been several situations recently where, yeah, they are.
And how often do you hear men say, or maybe they just don't say it, right? Maybe they're just
embarrassed. It's their
right.
pride. They're not going to tell a lot of people. And for me, it's more of like, I listen closer now to women, and it's more of like the women that you don't expect to cheat who are the cheaters. And it makes me be like, oh, so there are a lot of people out here that do this.
And a lot of them are just tired. Like, they're not getting what it is that they need, and divorce is expensive. So at this point, they just, like you said,
it out.
Yeah.
But so I think it's a combination of things, actually. I think maybe we don't know about the women as much who cheat, because like you said, men, they're embarrassed and they're not like, oh my God, my girlfriend, my wife, my whomever, she cheated on me, she broke my heart. They're not having all that song and dance. But to women's credit, or not to their credit, because they're cheating, right? But I also think they're a little more slick about it. Like they're a little more thoughtful in the way that they go about doing these things.
Yep. I heard a guy say, he said, a woman is not going to get caught cheating unless she wants you to catch her.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I 100% agree, because I feel like we think things out further along before we start. And the guy's kind of like, I'm just going to do this and think of a lot later and in the moment. No, you can't do that.
And then they're thinking they're getting away with it because the woman is no longer hounding them about it, but she out there doing her thing. You thinking she's in her routine, but she done got onto yours.
It is what it is. It's life.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, last question for me. Do you think that in a marriage, none of us are married, but do you think that in a marriage, everyone at some point is going to have to accept that their partner has cheated?
Like, while they're with me?
Yes, ma'am.
No. I thought you were talking about like maybe in the past. No.
Well, I think what Takara is saying is that there is going to be a situation that you never thought you would have to forgive or get over or get past, that you're going to have to. And it's a good chance it could be cheating or something like cheating. What was that John Gray did with his wife that wasn't sleeping with him? The pastor you were telling me about it, he didn't actually sleep with somebody. Pastor John Gray, you were the one that told me him and his wife, she was like, her feelings were hurt. He didn't actually sleep with a woman, but I feel like he was talking on the phone with a woman, sharing intimate, like flirting and in the talking stage. Like, you may have to accept that.
To me, that's actually worse than going all the way. Like, if anything, no. Like,
But Shanita, like, seriously, right? People get cheated on all the time, and they, and on the outside, we'd be like, girl, I could never. But you honestly, like, and this is, I don't necessarily think that you have to be cheated on to know that, like, you love them unconditionally. However, I think this tests your unconditional. I do think so.
but I do get that.
But don't let that be the reason, and don't let that get you all kinds of messed up.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm just saying, like, and again, you also have to be with the person who's not a habitual cheater, but maybe they just had a moment.
Well, two things. One, for me, I've been cheated on, so I know that. But that's been in a relationship, so I know how that feels. I know how that goes. But I feel like I've been single for way too long, and ain't no way God is going to make me wait this long to send me my husband just for him to cheat on me. Like, no. So I think for me, I pray that I'm not in that situation. Maybe it'd be something else that I have to forgive him about, but I just no. I've been waiting too long to have to share you. And then two, I just saw today on TikTok where they said Tinkerbell, but maybe I don't know who it's talking about, but I've heard the saying before. But they was like, Tinkerbell said that if it comes between you having to choose between her and me, choose her, because if
I've
you
heard
really
that before,
she would have never existed, basically. So that's how I feel, because I'm like, regardless, whatever led you to cheat, whatever led you to feel something for that person that you couldn't get from me, then that means that you don't love me with your whole heart. And would I ever be enough? Would there always be a question? Because I can forgive you, but then whatever it was that made you slip up, it's still not there. And who's to say you're going to get that back? So then it'll be another situation. And like you said, it might not be, intimate that time that way. It may just be a phone conversation.
Yep. And so for me, I feel like I would want to try to forgive the person, but my lesson is that I'm not gonna be able to mentally get past it and move on. I just know. So there's no point of me saying, oh, I still love you, and I'm gonna try to get past this when I know that's not gonna be realistic for who I am. So the answer would be no for me, because I just know we're not ever going to move forward.
Because I'll be part of that 30% that you was talking about.
Okay.
Because for me, it's at that point, I done checked out. So like Krista said, I'm not going to ever get back there. I can say I forgive you. I did that in the past. So it's like, I forgave you. I tried to work through it, but I'm not going to trust you again. And the minute you do something remotely similar to you possibly slipping up, like, it's always going to be a problem. It's always going to be an argument, because you're trying to prove to me that you're not doing it, and I'm trying to prove to you that you're possibly doing it again. So it's just not going to work.
Yep. And I honestly feel like this is the reason why a lot of women are cheating now, because of things that have happened in their past consistently. And, you know, just stories from their close friends and just for other people. You're kind of like, you know, if all this is going on with all these women, you know, just strangers, then yeah, I'm going to get mine, you know, going forward.
Yeah. And for me, believe it or not, I try not to. Yes, I have that in the back of my mind, what has happened in the past, but I'm going to trust you till you give me a reason not to. So any new relationship, I'm not holding them accountable what somebody else doing. I'm just being more cautious and more aware of signs and things that you're doing to make sure I'm not just out here looking like Boo Boo the Fool.
Mm-hmm.
Get my money away. For real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how many times would you forgive him?
So the thing is, right, I would say, again, in a marriage, right? But that's the thing. I think that I would only ever marry a person that, like, at this age, I'm 40. So, you know, I cannot see myself jumping into a marriage that is just like willy-nilly. I think that I would truly be committed to this person, and I would believe that that their intention is to not cheat on me, right? Going into it. However, I cannot say what I would be willing to try to work through, you know, come 5 years down the line and we are deep in it, you know. I probably would attempt to try to work through it, you know, but I am also one of those people that once it's there in my mind, it's not ever going to leave.
Right.
And it's like you said, any little thing that they do, it's like a trigger and you're back at square one.
Yep. So at this point, I can forgive you, but I don't have to be with you. Like, we can agree to move on. Now, after maybe we done broke up or you done had some time, but I just feel like you, like, the time wise, I don't have time at this point. So if we break up, that's just it. Like, I can't see it being 10 years down the road because I'm being near 50. So I'm not.
But that's the thing, like, people are they're people, like, we are imperfect. We are, like, you know, I'm saying maybe my husband might do it 5 years down the road, but hell, I might be the one to do it. You just never know what life, you know, life just be life in, and, you know, you just never know.
True, but I think there are some people out there that do not cheat. Like, you know, like we've talked about it before. I have seen some guys that, you know, I'll be watching and we've been in a restaurant or something. You'll have some guys that as soon as a female walk past, they're following her, they're watching her. And you have some that know they're solely focused on the person that they're with.
I don't think that's realistic.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the biggest cheaters, probably.
You think so?
Because they're working too hard. Like,
okay,
they're working too hard to try to. And I mean, you know, I mean, if see, that doesn't bother me as much. Like, okay, that girl was pretty, you know, or she got a nice shape or whatever. Like, he looked, and what, you know. And to be honest with you, it's something like that is like very open about that. You know, he could even be like, oh, you know, like, if we're talking about it, don't just be like, oh my gosh, she's so fine, da, 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 da. You know, but you know, and that's what I feel like. If this person is your friend, like, you guys should literally be able to talk about everything.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens to make them want to cheat?
Because that's the thing. I think you put up a block and we make people feel like they're restricted as far as what we can accept from them. Meaning, like, dude, you cannot tell me that lady walking by, you know, got a big old booty or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if you allow in my mind, if you allow your person to fully be them, right? And to not make them feel like they have to keep certain things from you because you cannot take it, then that creates like a block where, well, I can't say this, I can't act like I'm looking here, I can't do this, you know what I mean? I got to keep it cute.
Yeah,
and then it feels like restricted.
Yeah.
I don't know, because even with that example, like, I feel like it is some guys that don't cheat. But with that example, one of the people that I used to date, I was that open. Like at that point, I knew what he was attracted to. He knew what I was attracted to. So if I see a female that I know he's attracted to, I'm like, okay, so I'm looking at him, giving him the opportunity to look. So he already knows. So you get your look, but that's it. Like,
right.
If he's a guy that he know I'm attracted to, he looking at me and I'm gonna look or whatever. You know, we laugh about it, but he still cheated. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. Like with cheating, with some people cheating, and that's a lesson. Somebody told me when I was in like my mid-20s, like an older woman told me. She said, "You can be the perfect woman, do every single thing right, and that is not gonna stop a person from cheating that want to cheat."
If that's right, if that's what they want to do.
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's true. So what do you think keeps a guy from cheating?
Nothing. The guy that wants to not cheat. Right.
They don't want to. Like they have to not want to.
Like they legit don't want to because they have decided in their mind, right? Because there's always going to be somebody prettier, somebody smarter, somebody taller, somebody more chocolatier and fine, just whatever. But I'm just saying there's always going to be someone who looks better because that's the only thing we have to go off of, or somebody that you are attracted to. Hello, you're still living, you still can see, you still can, you're not blind. But I think it's something in you that has to decide in your character that is not who you're going to be.
So do you think that's why males are getting the BBLs and stuff now, because they're trying to become somebody that is desired by the person they're with, or are they doing it for them?
I think that some of them are, not all, some of them are getting it because society, meaning that like
that's the trend.
Social media and men are saying this is what you should look like. So I think they're doing it for men and for society. But there are some women, very few, that just actually wanted to change their body, but I don't think it's many that want it for themselves.
Yeah,
I heard that surgery was dangerous, right?
Yes, because I just saw on TikTok. I say on TikTok. But I just saw on TikTok where it was this girl that was like, y'all gonna get enough for getting these BBLs or whatever and getting on the flight. Like, stay there until you're healed.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm not in it. So it is dangerous, but yet you're still taking the risk to do it.
So here's the thing, right? I don't want a BBL, but I think I would do like a tummy tuck at this point, and that has nothing to do with anybody else. Like, I just would like to.
Whoever want to do it, when you're doing it just for you, like, do that, but don't do it just because you're trying to keep somebody or you're trying to keep up with somebody. Because they're just like losing weight. If you want to lose weight for you, but not for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we're in a time where people do things for trends as opposed to because what they really want to do for themselves. That's my thought.
Yeah.
So, we hope you guys enjoyed the show and the after show. Thank you for sticking around for both coming back. And if you have something you want us to talk about or to go into more, or if you want to comment on what we talked about, let us know. Drop some comments below on YouTube. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to like any social media and type in the Melanated Opinion, the Melanated OP on Twitter, and you will pull us up. You will find us, and we would definitely, thank you for the comment. So that's going to be it today. And thank you so much for watching.